Hey folks, it's been a long time. Um, I've had work and been very strenuous. I've been stressed to the max. A lot of deadlines to accomplish, a lot of things to do. So, to any of my subscribers that are still here that probably forgot about me, I'm back. And I can't guarantee I can do this day by day, but I will guarantee you I will do this as much as possible and with as much time as I can. Uh, I'm just going to give you as much content as I could give to you folks as far as wrestling goes and whatever media outlet I choose to touch on in the near future or in this installment. That's if anything comes to mind. Number one, this is, you'll see it's the shooting gallery, but it's not going to be the shooting gallery. It's one man's opinion. So I'm taking that out from my podcast, and I will maybe do another podcast in the near future. But right now, my only outlet at this time is YouTube and the video. So I will get to more of that as more news comes my way. I know it's been a while. I think my last video was CM Punk being involved in the main event of WrestleMania, and in my opinion, he was, because Punk and Undertaker, in my view, at WrestleMania 29 was the main event. Stole the show, hands down. Not supposed to the finish fest that was Rock Cena 2, which I loved until the last 5 minutes where Rock and Cena just kept doing their finishers, and I just got sick of it afterwards. But be that as it may, I'm doing this to reignite myself back to the YouTube community, back to y'all. So whoever is standing by me and who has stood by me, thank you very much, and I appreciate it a lot. So this will be a DVD review, and I put on my Twitter yesterday that I was going to put my real thoughts on this DVD, but you were going to have to wait for it, and this is it. And the DVD review is, yes, Triple H Thy Kingdom Come, which was released on Tuesday. And my initial thoughts going into this was, how biased was this documentary going to be? How forthcoming people are towards Triple H heading towards this documentary, you know? And I saw the trailer to it, and what bothered me is a quote that I will go back to shortly. But I think the quote, I know you probably know the quote that I'm talking about. It's from Dave Bautista, and we'll get to that quote later on. So, Triple H, Thy Kingdom Come, 2 hours. It was a good 2 hours. It went from his upbringing in Connecticut to how he wanted to be a bodybuilder all his life, and trained with Killer Kowalski in the years towards that, heading into WCW as Terror Rising, and then his transformation to Jean Paul Levesque. You know, it goes through almost every facet of Triple H's career, and I liked it. I had no problem with it. You know, it's the thing that shocked me about this documentary is that, when do you see The Undertaker out of character talking about another wrestler? Like in the last couple of documentaries that got released, like the Mick Foley, and the Austin documentary and the CM Punk documentary, you know, which, all were talking about Undertaker at the time. That Undertaker chose to be out of character, chose to be Mark Calloway, chose to be himself and talk about um, Paul Levesque. It's very, very epic that you see something like that. Undertaker doesn't do interviews. Undertaker doesn't do anything out of character. He stays in character all the time. So to see Undertaker in a shade of light that he was on, was very, very good. You know. So kudos to Triple H for having Undertaker be Mark and have Mark talk about Paul. Um, there's a couple of things I want to point out. We go to the Mick Foley when he talks about Mick Foley. He talks about his rivalry with Foley in the late 90s, like 97, 96, 97 ish, like from his King of the Ring win to his match with SummerSlam in the steel cage, his Canadian Stampede, the reemergence of Cactus Jack in 97 at MSG, but they never touched on his returning, his feud with Foley in 2000 with the Royal Rumble and Hell in a Cell at No Way Out, which I wish they could have touched on because those were the matches that made Triple H a main event player. It wasn't any of those other matches from the late 90s, that made Triple H who Triple H was as far as how tough he was and how, rugged. It was the matches with Foley from Royal Rumble and No Way Out of that year that made him, And not to say that, 99 when he was the champion, that his matches with Austin and Rock didn't do any favors. They did, And I mean, it propelled, and the promo on Sunday Night Heat from '99, it was part of that. Another point was his quad injury, not his first one and his second one. They put more focus on the first one than the second one because I think the first one was more significant and his return was more significant because he returned at Madison Square Garden 9 months later. His second return wasn't really that much received, in my opinion, because they put hype videos so much for Triple H in '07, that when he returned and they did all the all the music teases and everything, I think the crowd was like, just fucking do it, just come out, That's my opinion. So, but yeah, they focused on the first injury more than the second injury. What I liked, and this was a big like for me, was Triple H talking about being handcuffed at WrestleMania 25 and his main event with Randy Orton. Randy Orton had no problem with the match. Triple H did. Triple H said he, to have a stipulation like that and feel handcuffed and to be the match following Undertaker and Shawn Michaels was a lot of pressure. He said that, when they walked in Gorilla, I gave him a hug and I congratulated him for a hell of a match. But in the back of my mind, I was like, fuck you. So he felt like he was given a very, short stick, and he even said the storyline was built on physicality and so much violence that those two wanted to tear the shit out of each other, but they were built in the confines of, if Triple H gets disqualified or counted out, he loses the title. That takes all the physicality out of it. So And Orton, and we've all talked about the main event of 25, saying that it was one of the worst main events in WrestleMania history. The crowd was dead after Michaels and Taker of that year, because the crowd popped all the false finishes and everything. So now, the quote that really frustrates me and really pisses me off is when Batista says that Triple H is the Michael Jordan of the business. That I disagree with, because Michael Jordan in his time was the face of the NBA. Batista calling Triple H the face or the Michael Jordan of the business, of WWE in general, you would have to be the face of the company. And Triple H was never the face of the company. And this is my argument towards it. Triple H was never the face of the company. Triple H was a hand. Was he the top heel in 99, 2000, 2001 before his injury? Yeah. He was he was at the top of heel status. You cannot get any more heat than what Triple H was getting at those years. Everybody hated Triple H. Everybody wanted to see Triple H lose so bad. And when he was the champion, they wanted to see him lose the title. But you were the top heel of the company, but yet you weren't the face. And that's what bothers me. You need to have so much media coverage towards you, Make-A-Wishes and stuff like that. And no doubt I think Triple H has done those, but has he made an impact like John Cena has? Fruity Pebbles and every other advertisement, or The Rock with just him and the movies he's made. And he was the face of the WWE while he was doing the movies. Everybody was still focused on The Rock while Austin was still the WWE champion and playing a heel. So you could say that Rock and Austin had shared the face of the company status. Austin was the face of the company while Triple H was getting up there, getting up in main event status. Triple H is a main event player. I do not discount his wrestling ability. He has great matches in and out of the ring. There's some that are duds, some that are not, others that are excellent, and others that are below par, But for Batista to make the assumption that Triple H is the Jordan of the business is downright insulting, because he's not. He worked with faith. He worked with the face of the company. He wasn't the face of the company. He worked with faces of the company. He worked with Rock. He worked with Austin. He worked with Cena. And those three were the face of the company at that time. Austin was the face of the company. Rock was the face. Cena was the face. That just bothers me. That bothered me to no end. That still bothers me, because the Jordan of the company is way beyond. Now, if you're counting the fact that to go in the office and work the office, I could understand that. But as far as talent and ability, from his first run, retiring, and coming back from the second run, I gotta give it to Shawn Michaels. I might get arguments from it. I don't care. But Shawn, in my opinion, is the Jordan of the company. Because to go out like Shawn Michaels went out in 98, still pulling out a good quality match. It wasn't high quality. It was a good quality match. He gutted it out with a back injury. And for him to say I'm not going to wrestle again, but then to have him come back in 2002 to make his return, that was like Jordan putting back the 4-5. You know, Jordan putting on the 45 and all of a sudden, like months later, changing it to 23. That's how good Jordan was when he came back from retirement. And that's how good Shawn Michaels was when he came back from, the semi-retirement. You know? And to have his career end the way he wanted it to end. You know, on top against The Undertaker for a second straight WrestleMania. You can't discount the fact that Michaels could be the Jordan of the company. You know, to do what he's done in the 30 years he's been in wrestling in general. You know? So I know I might get backlash on it. I don't care, but it's my opinion. That's why the show is called One Man's Opinion, because that's how I see it. That's how I lay it out. But that was the comment, and I didn't like it. Still bothers me to this day. Even when I saw it again, it still bothered me because it's like, ugh. But despite that, 2 hours, there is still a couple of things he should have touched on. He did touch on SummerSlam with the triple threat match between Austin and Mankind. Austin had the knee injury, and he didn't want one-on-one with Hunter. So basically, in a way, Austin didn't want to drop the belt to Triple H at SummerSlam. He wanted to drop the belt to Foley. So, be that as it may have been politics that Austin didn't think that Triple H was ready to be the champion. And that's why he dropped it to Foley instead of Triple H. It could be there, it could be that. And there were some other things. I mean, of course, this is a WWE release, so they're not going to touch on the opportunity that Rob Van Dam had with the world title, or Booker T at WrestleMania 19, or Kane for that matter at No Mercy of 2002. All three of those men could have been or should have been world champions in those years. Rob Van Dam in 02, Kane in 02, and Booker T in 03. There was no explanation why they couldn't be the champions at that time, you know? But once again, politics and this WWE release, you're not gonna show like the other side of Paul when it comes to politics, you know. So they showed all of his title reigns. Orton said that Triple H was a 14-time world champion. I don't think he is. I think he's still 13. I don't know what the 14th is. Gotta think about that for a second, but I don't think he's 14. But you know, some very candid interviews, some, you know, Stephanie and Paul, you know, really getting together, and that angle with them being married in the McMahon-Helmsley era, that was good. He touched on his, you know, his two feuds with The Rock, and Rock touched on the Iron Man match between him and Triple H at Judgment Day of 2000. And it's basically the best match on this collection is Rock and Triple H in the Iron Man match. That's the second reason I bought the DVD. First reason was the documentary. Second reason is because I do not... That was like throughout the Rock and Triple H releases on DVD. There never was a definitive release on DVD of The Rock versus Triple H in that Iron Man match. And now we have it on this set. So kudos, finally. The match between Kurt Angle and Triple H of Unforgiven in 2000, it was a good match. You know, it told the story. But it touched on something. it made me think, what happened at Room A14 SummerSlam night? JR asked that question at the beginning of the match. What happened at Room A14 SummerSlam night? And we never got that angle resolved between Angle and Triple H. It's just stopped abruptly with Stephanie kicking Angle in the balls and Triple H going for the pin and Stephanie looking all confused and Triple H forcefully and very uncomfortably kissing Stephanie and walking out of the ring. And I know for all the Twitter followers I have, you've seen my opinion on that subject. But, I mean, even after that time, it was never discussed. It was never brought up again, especially the Room A14. How can you bring up something like that and not have a payoff? Even when Angle was champion and Stephanie was his business advisor, that never got touched upon. So, just want to go off on a rant on that one. But as far as this documentary goes, I put this ranking near Austin's for that, because Austin's documentary was beyond great. I think it's around the top 5 documentaries. Ranking Austin number 1 and Punk number 2. Foley is third, and I put this documentary a close. I give that a tie for third. I give Foley and Triple H a tie, because you wanted more, because if you've seen Triple H over the years, you know more, and I think you've wanted more. But that, once again, that's just my view on it. So, 5 out of 5. It's a 5 out of 5. It's a must buy for any Triple H mark who's loved Triple H. I am not a Triple H mark, but he is a great performer when it comes to hard hitting matches. He is a great performer. And his technical skills are beyond anything, anybody has done in years. So, I give this a 5 for 5. I still rank Foley's documentary the best of this year. Foley still has the best documentary of the year so far, but I'm more biased towards Foley than Triple H. So there you have it there, Plus, in my opinion, I feel like Foley's been through more shit. So there you have it. It is a must buy, and get it for the. The matches here are not good quality. The Rock Triple H Iron Man match from 2000, the Last Man Standing match between Orton and Triple H at No Mercy. That was a great match. What other matches? If you own WrestleMania 29, you already own his match with Brock Lesnar. So there was no reason to add that match in. There is an extra, though, when he's talking about, and he touched it, and he talked about it in this documentary, about his balance between the ring and the office. Road Dogg said that he's in his $2,000 suit and he's going to ropes and roughing the ropes and giving all these talents advice, and doesn't care about his suit, because he cares about being in the ring and teaching talent. This is what I love about Triple H now. What I love about Triple H now is that he's bringing up new talent. He's brung up most of this new talent that has been coming up this last year or so. The Shield, Fandango. Sheamus was his guy. A lot of good talent. The Wyatt family. That's Triple H's call. Triple H makes that call to see if they're ready to go or not. So the more that Triple H stays in the office standpoint, which will be good because in his hands the future of the WWE is well secure, and he knows how to bring talent up, and he knows everything going towards it. Do I agree with this storyline right now? Sometimes it's a way to build Daniel Bryan. It's what this whole story is about, and I commend Triple H for doing it. This whole story is building around Daniel Bryan and some other talents. It's bringing up Cody Rhodes. It's bringing back Goldust. If they sign them to a deal or not, who knows? It's bringing up a lot of talent. I mean, when was the last time you saw Zack Ryder on a Raw? But yet you see Zack Ryder, two Raws in a row, and you see him in two SmackDown matches in a row. It's bringing up talent little by little, and I think it's a good thing that by the end of this whole storyline, you'll have hopefully these established stars. And you have these people that are already established. You have Cody that could be established after this whole. That should be after this whole ordeal is over. Ziggler, God, I don't know what Ziggler did, but he has it bad right now, and it kind of pisses me off because you have Ziggler who has so much promise and so much God-given talent, and just from one quote, I don't know what he said, but I know it's a quote that he said at SummerSlam weekend: "I could get you in the doghouse so quickly, get you stripped of the World Heavyweight title so quickly, and you haven't been running for the title since. Instead, Rob Van Dam is running for the world title." It's just a roll of the dice. It's just how things are, I guess, in the business and as far as politics go. But and that about does it, guys. For those who are watching, thank you. I know I'm a little bit stumbling during this. This is my first video, so I kind of got a little bit nervous. I got to get a little more comfortable back in front of the camera, and it'll get better. It'll get better with time. So thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll come back with another installment. And God bless. See you later.